What? Huh? I can't. Well, normally I don't get on my phone too much, but one of my staff members just told me one of my policyholders got killed last night in a car wreck, so I'm trying not to focus on that, but just kind of got me a little bit discombobulated. Yeah, I thought Arkansas had one, but when they got tied at 28, I thought we were in a good position. Couldn't stop them. Yeah.
I look at my thing,
Just outscore the other. Well, I'm fully confident that Ole Miss will trounce as they go on down the season. They don't have defense. Well, these buttons, this one's too tight, this one's too loose, and I can't make my mind up. Both of them are yeah, I mean, so it's just like, I'm not going to win today. So it's just the way it is. I lost twice yesterday and losing again. Everybody got a book? Everybody got a book that wants one? I got two left. Two left. One. We're on lesson 2, so we're not very far into this new quarter. So might start a little bit early, but maybe not. Come on in, Jeff. I got your seat over here. I got the fan going.
This is not exactly a good class for me, so I'm really scared.
I got you. Come on, Abby. Okay. Wayne, would you mind leading us in a word of prayer for us, sir?
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we're so thankful to you for this time we have together, Lord, to be able to discuss one of the most important things that you've given to us, Lord, our marriages and how to protect them. And we ask you, Lord, to help us as we study your word and to help direct Chris as he directs this class, and help us have a good discussion, Lord, and come out of this class better prepared to help our spouse and help each other. And we ask you, Lord, to help us look to Jesus for guidance, and we ask you, Lord, to be with those in other classes that they can also get benefit from you. And we ask you things, you send me pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Wayne. Well, welcome to lesson number 2 in the Hedges class, and I know we've got some visitors in here, so thank you for being here. So I do want to preface this by saying, in my introductory to this marriage class, and a lot anybody in here that hasn't been in one of my classes before, I really want your input and expertise on maybe some of your marriages, or things that you've gone through, or maybe things that you've seen from friends or family, or just life experiences as a whole. If you're single, hopefully we can give you some insight about what a proper marriage should look like in a spouse and a mate, some of the traits that you're looking for, some of the person that you want to be, and what the expectations of your spouse would be. I will say that the book, in my opinion, does not have a tremendous amount of biblical verses, but there are a lot of biblical verses that addresses a proper marriage. Okay, so we did talk about David and Bathsheba last week, but I want to give you my introductory to when I was introduced to Hedges. Now, Dennis talked about this 20 years ago. I was in that same class. Okay, and I'm not going to pull any punches with you because I'm going to lay it out there. All right. Now, when I went through this book, me and Amy had been married about 10 years, and a lot of the situation, the story was the same. It just kind of kept going about a man cheating on his wife, and we kept talking about some of the same things, and we were talking about how to strengthen our marriage and some of the things we could do. He would give his wife sticky notes and little things like that, when I would just kind of roll my eyes, and it's just kind of ridiculous. I mean, it's just because I was newly married, 2 young kids. I'm like, why wouldn't you be close? I was naive enough to think that when you got married, being in the church, it was just automatically assumed that you're going to be married forever. And as Dennis has said, we've had a lot of divorces over the years. Just because we're in the church doesn't mean we're not immune to the world and what Satan is doing to all of us. Okay, because we spend a whole lot more time in the world than we do with each other. So we have to own that and take responsibility for that. But I want to tell y'all something, that even all of these examples, as long as you communicate and you're on the same page, it's not about taking separate trips, it's not about doing different things. It's about communicating and being on the same page that both agree to that, right? We talked briefly about, Amy taking a women's trip or me taking a golf trip. That in inherent is fine, as long as your spouse is on the same page and y'all both agree that that's fine, but that shouldn't be your norm, and to the exclusion of spending time with me. Amy doesn't go on a trip to the exclusion of me. That would get into our time, that we would take a trip together. Y'all understand the difference, okay? So I want to make some of those distinctions, but I'm going to tell y'all something. That sounded wrong. I didn't mean it that way. It sounded kind of harsh, didn't it? My first experience, I'm sitting on the second row of a Hedges class 20 years ago, okay? We have a deacon and his wife. The other wife and the deacon. This deacon's wife is pregnant with their third child. Okay? This deacon wants to get the nursery ready for the third child. Okay? So this wife likes to do the home stuff. Paint, the do-it-yourself, right? She's got some skills, likes to do that. This one and this one start spending a lot of time together. Guess what happened? They had an affair. Here, sitting right in front of me, in this class, doing that. Don't tell me it can't happen. You're not going to convince me of that. So we can kind of snicker and look at these stories and think that it's not going to happen here, and that's kind of cheesy and that's kind of ridiculous. And I'm telling you, it's that simple. It can happen that quick. It destroyed one family held it together, but they moved and started over. And this church took a lot of sides because friendships were in play. A lot of emotions were in play. Who was at fault? A lot of finger pointing, a lot of emotion. There's a lot of things that happen. So don't take this class for granted. I feel like my voice is shaking a little bit because it's, yeah, it was emotional. It's tough. It's tough. So anyway, all right. So that's my introduction to that. You can tell that I know this is the third or fourth time we've taught this class. I don't know if we can do it enough because you can't take life for granted. There's so much evil out there, as we've seen this week. There's evil everywhere. And a lot of our friends, they don't have the same view of marriage that we do. We think they do, but they really don't. Because if you think that it would be okay just to leave your spouse and to think that you can still be a Christian just for whatever you want to do because God loves me, we're not on the same page. We're not doing the same things. So my boundaries need to take precedence over pursuing somebody else's boundaries. You can't take that for granted. Don't ever think that they're on the same page as you. We can see in this story that both of them, for whatever reason, started losing that emotional connection and wanting to see each other, talk about things. It got private. It got personal, right? Don't ever let it get personal like that. That's sacred between you and your spouse. You have to have that communication. Went and saw Brother Neil Simpson yesterday, and I said, okay, Brother Neil, let's get serious for a minute. What's the one piece of advice that you would give someone today's their 69th wedding anniversary? I said, what's the one thing? And he said something funny. He said, oh, you're serious. I go, yeah, I'm serious. And he said, communication. And it always comes back to that. Communicating with your spouse on what you're doing, where you're going. I told him this morning, we were kind of laughing. I said, look, if you look in my search engines, I do have some sites that I normally don't. It's research. I said, no. And we'll get into that in just a minute. You'll see what I mean. I said, but if you want to look at my search engines, that's okay. But it's research, right? So, but yeah, but I think it's from my past experience, I probably over communicate because when I see something, I really want to talk about it right now, and I want to put it behind me and let's move on. I don't want to keep my mouth shut, let it fester, and hold it for the next argument. Say, remember when? Right? And we probably all have a tendency to do that at one point or another. But I would tell you that the book gets in. Turn to page on the changing climate. We talk about fear as being a motivator and being accountable. So when you look at friends, if I ask for a show of hands, does everybody here in this room have someone in the church? Do you have Christian friends or a Christian friends that can hold you accountable for doing the right thing? I don't have to see the hands, but do you? I've got friends in the world, but if I'm in a room or if I'm in some place and JR hears me tell something that was kind of derogatory about Amy, about my wife, or saying something, you got to say something. Say, Chris, that really wasn't appropriate. I don't think you should be saying that. Do we have that person? Right? If you don't, you need to get one. Because there's a different kind. You got Christian counselors. You've got the world counselors of how they view marriage and divorce. We've got Christian friends and friends. And we have to have someone, the person that loves me tells me the truth. Right? If you can't tell me the truth and tell me that that's not appropriate or that's good or that's bad, we got to work on that friendship. We have to find a way to break down that barrier to say, look, I love you more than just not saying anything. And society is telling us different. Let's be honest. Society is telling me, if you love me, you'll let me be happy. No, I love you more than that. I love you more because I got to tell you the truth. I love you more, right? Because there's a bigger goal. There's a spiritual goal and not a physical. right? I'm not here to make you happy, right? So I'm here for us to be on the same spiritual page. We talk about accountability. Now, on the right side of the page, it talks about websites of putting hedges in place. This is very outdated, okay? But the one thing, and let's go bigger than this. In this world of, and anybody can add on to me and correct me, in today's world of AI-generated technology and all of these cookies and algorithms and things, it's leading you to where you never thought you wanted to go. How many of you have been searching for something on the internet, maybe a pretty dress, and you get back on Facebook and that particular website is there? It knows what you're searching. It knows what you're doing. It knows what you're looking at. So if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, if you're looking at a site, William, if you type something in about the police force in Facebook because you want to see something, the next thing you know, you're going to get all these police websites coming. It's going to start attaching you to all of that because it knows what you're doing. It's memorizing who you are, right? So if you look at this picture of a woman or a man that's crossing the line, guess what? You're about to get more of that, a lot more of that. And unless you shut it down, you're going to get inundated with going a little further, a little further, a little further. You've got to tell it no. You can't just skip over it. You got to shut it down. And if you find that you can't get it shut down, then you're going to have to delete it, bring it back up, and type in some other things to make it start memorizing and seeing you differently, right? It's on every streaming service, everything that we do. Does anybody have Netflix or Hulu and all these different things? Do you know why this is? I got a Chris, I got an Amy, I got a Kendall, and I got a Preston. When I put on Chris, I'm getting Gladiator, sports, documentaries. When I get on Amy, it's all of the period pieces, the Downton Abbeys, the design shows and all of that. Why do you think that is? It knows exactly what she's watching. And she don't have to even pretend to say no to my stuff. It's already memorized who she is. Now, how do you think the computer knows that? It knows what we're watching. It knows what we're doing. It knows everything. And you're getting a heavy dose of that, right? So if you don't think that everything that we touch is being memorized, it's going to take you a lot further. So if you're already watching something that's not necessarily good, it's going to take you. It's going to take you there hard, right? So I would tell you that in today's, we can try to put all of these parental blockers on things for yourself, for your spouse, for your accountability partner, and all of these sites, but it is a constant thing because everything's changing. It's always changing. I'm so thankful I'm not trying to raise kids in this environment because it's only getting worse. Now, let's take myself. I mean, if I was unhappy in my marriage and I searched one thing with them, I'm going to get so much of that in my feed. And if you don't shut it down, it's just going to take you where you really don't need to go. And if JR says, Chris, what are you looking at? What is this video you sent me? You kind of crossed the line. You need to get out of that. We have to have that kind of partnership and accountability. If you have your Bible, turn to Philippians 4. Seth, can you read verses 8 and 9 for me? Philippians 4, 8, and 9.
Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. What you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you.
So if whatever you're seeing, if it's not true, honorable, just, pure, lovely, commendable, you need to start over. you need to wipe the slate clean on what you're looking at and find these things in your algorithms in this AI world. That's what you need to be focusing on. If you're dating somebody who's showing you these kind of things, so you're going to have to start over, either with him or her or the websites, one of the two, right? Because you cannot go down this path and think this is going to end well.
Chris, the good thing about the algorithm is it also be positive, what you were just talking about.
Absolutely.
You start looking at a bunch of positive things, you also get fed tons more of that stuff.
Right. So that's a great point. So the thing is, you got to change your whole outlook. You got to change what you're looking at and give it something to give you something positive. Exactly right. So come back and put a Bible verse in there, or come back and put something Christian minded, and then you'll get a daily feed of that. That'll be better. And so I would encourage all of you that it's not technically about these websites, because you can get, and don't take anything for granted too. You know, I don't know, a lot of these partnerships, I don't understand. Everybody's buying everybody nowadays. I don't know who owns who, right? And I know ESPN and Disney are together, but I know Disney owns a lot of things. And I don't know who owns what anymore, so I don't know who's showing what. So I would caution all of us, don't take anything for granted just because it has a name on the front of it. I don't know what ESPN's going to do next, but some of the most raunchy things I've ever seen on a commercial is cartoon generated. So just because it's a cartoon don't mean our kids should be watching it either. South Park comes to mind, right? So, you know, going to movies, it's always entertaining to the adult for some reason now, even in a cartoon format, because they think that I want to be entertained, something in it for me, right? I don't need any of that, and I don't want to put those thoughts in my kids' heads either. So everything's intentional. I did look up the porn industry, since the book gets into that. Does anybody have any idea? Now, this is in 2023, what the global value of the porn industry is as of 2023. Anybody even remotely want to guess how much money is being made? $287.8 billion. All of that's not just non-Christians. There's people struggling with this every day. They project at an 8.6% growth in 24 to 34, it'll be over $706 billion industry. Tremendous. You want sin at your fingertips? We want to give our kids cell phones at 12. I'm just telling you that you're the parent, and even me as safeguarding my marriage, that is a dangerous tool that we give our kids, and even ourselves. There's nothing in here that you can't walk out this door and pull up anything you want right now. If you want the answer, there is no waiting. We want our food right now. We want everything right now. But the one thing you can't get in society is job satisfaction and relationship strength. Those take time. And this society is not used to that. Everything's immediate. I jumped in the truck with Preston, my son. We were going to Chick-fil-A. We were going to the drive-thru. I looked over. That wasn't good enough. He was getting on the app, ordering, so we could go through the mobile drive-thru. We wanted quicker than quick. So when we got there, it was already ready. Kelsey, am I right? But that's the thought process of these kids. That's not fast enough now. And so when I go to McAllister's, I've already got on the app while I'm on my way there. It's already there. I'm not even waiting for that. 5 minutes is too long. So this immediate gratification of my mind and what I may not be getting at home is so instrumental to how our brains are processing and thinking. Everything's got to be right now. I need right now. I want what I want right now, and I don't have to wait for it. If my spouse isn't going to give it to me, somebody else will. Wayne?
Yeah, went to McDonald's the other day, when I said, no, I don't have it on the mobile app, they were bumbling.
Yeah.
Give an order.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it goes the opposite way too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's just, everything is just, it's right there. And we don't have to wait for it. So the thing is, the relationships that me and Amy have created and all of you have created or are creating, it's always a continual growth process. Both people are continuing to grow. Me and Amy have always, luckily, been alive. But we were only in our 20s. We got married. And we're continuing to grow as spouses, as husbands, as human beings, as life. So are we growing this way? Are we growing in the Lord together and setting up those boundaries of what the world wants us separated for? It's up to us. And so I think that's the thing where we're still always working. Our relationship's always evolving, just like yours will. Right? You get married, you're dating, everything's great, the world is no issue. You get married, you love each other, then you wake up and you realize that you're really broke. You don't know, you can't go do things that you used to because mom and dad said, oh, you're married now. I'm not giving you that money. Y'all live on love for a while. So you throw some chicken nuggets in the oven. Stay at home and watch a movie. You don't go out. Right? Tell me I'm wrong. And as you continue to grow and build, you make a little more money, and you have a kid. Kid gets in the way. Dad wants what he wants. Mom's changed. Mom's body's changed. Mom's got responsibilities to a child. Right? My life hadn't changed. My body didn't change. Well, not that way. No, it's changed. No, it's changed. No. Yeah, she lost hers. I'm still, I don't think I'm that bad weight wise, but I'm 50 pounds heavier than when I was married. We change. We all change. But we need to be changing together. And then you have a second child. Or maybe a third, I don't know. Things get in the way. But the one thing that we need to be reminded that our kids need to know, nobody comes before mom and nobody comes before dad. They come first. You come first. I married your mom. You're a byproduct of that. And I love you. But this is my spouse. This is my spouse. And we created you. The spouse comes first. Do not let our children get in the way of our relationship. Don't do that, because you're teaching them who comes first. I reminded my kids often, you're disrespecting my wife. I wanted them to know, I know it's your mom, it's my spouse. And you should be dating someone who has the same, and living with someone, whatever you're looking for, you should be looking for a person that agrees with that, getting on the same page. I never wanted my parents or my kids to get in the way of my spouse. That's how I look at it. Any comments to that? I'm talking way too much. Will?
Yeah, you was talking about being anxious, how your son wanted, he got on the mobile app when he went to Chick-fil-A. They want it now.
Right.
Well, Paul talks about the opposite of that. In Philippians chapter 4, verse 6, Paul said, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good comment, Will. The divorce rate in this country is what? Roughly. Everybody knows it. Half. 40 to 50%. What's the divorce rate of second marriages? 60 to 70%. Most course, these are all, you know, take it with a grain of salt with a lot of these studies out there trying to get a snap spiel. Most people that have affairs do not marry the person that they're having the affair with. Because once the illusion has been found out, it's not exciting anymore. You with me? And so you look at divorce rates and the toll it takes on the people around you. You think about blended families. The marriage, the Christian biblical example of what a marriage should be breaks down. If you have a Christian couple and one spouse cheats and another one gets married, that person's kids usually come before the second wife. That's not their mother or father. Y'all see that, right? There's a biblical reason for why all this is tough. And you can see the wisdom in why God said he hates divorce. Because it just continues to trickle down the repercussions of the families, the homes, and the second and third families. It just breaks down, right? You're not my mom. You're not my father. You can't tell me what to do. Then you're disrespecting Aunt, mother, and father. Well, you're not my mother, right? I mean, there's so many biblical examples of why you can't allow ourselves to be thinking to go down that road. The book gets into the physical and emotional attraction is why people at 78% and why they cheat, and marital dissatisfaction is 41%. So we are going to repeat, the emotional separation is the most common form of spouses not being on the same page. We emotionally lose touch with each other. We were talking about this last night. It's kind of inherent that we tend to be satisfied with what we got until we see the newer model. Is that a fair statement? How many of you have been totally satisfied with the car you're driving until you sit in a new one? Ooh, this is nice. This has got more features.
Smells better.
Smells better, right? I can see myself driving this. Oh, it's only $40 a month more in a car note. I can do that. Then you get back in your old car. Sorry, piece of junk. Tired of this thing. Am I wrong? And I wasn't even looking for a new car. That's why they want you to sit in that car. They want you to test drive it. So it's not about the dissatisfaction with your spouse. Are you going to allow to even remotely get close to test driving something newer, in your mind better? That's not the vow that you took. Any comment to that?
Hebrews 13:5 to be content with what you have.
Have any of you ever joked about your spouse in a negative way in a group setting? Have any of you ever been at a party or in a group setting and said something derogatory about your spouse? It's not good. We would never want to embarrass our spouse in front of somebody, would we? We had a white elephant party one time. Amy knows where I'm going. And it was funny until it became embarrassing. We opened up all these white elephant party gifts, and somebody opened up, and it was a big nightgown, old, ratty looking. The wife, that's my nightgown. I still wear that. The husband hated it, so he thought it would be funny to just give it away because she kept wearing it. We watched their two heads meet. She got embarrassed. and upset. The room became very uncomfortable. They're now divorced. Went to church here. With me? Why would you do that? Why would you ever do that? That's not funny. I see a lot of you kind of shaking your head. This was an East Shelby Christmas party, White Elephant party we had. These are all Christians. It was all the church. What was meant to be fun turned into a very uncomfortable situation. Can't we all recognize that's not good? Would never disrespect my spouse, especially in public, ever. Okay, so we're back to John and Sue. We talked about what could they have done. Those of you who weren't here in the first lesson, John and Sue's our storyline where they were not unhappy with their marriages, but they went on a business trip. They were in a hotel together. They said, hey, you want to go down to the lobby or outside to talk? I can't sleep. Yeah, I'd love to. They end up kissing, having an affair. Here we are. And neither one of them were technically looking for somebody else. That's the story. Okay? Now we're in a part of the question is being asked. So what could they have done? What could they have done from the beginning to say, no, we're not going down this road? So if we're backing up to when they're back at the hotel, sometimes it could be as innocent as, I have to travel for business. I'm lucky that I don't really have to travel for business. When I do, Amy normally goes with me. If Amy can't go, I normally won't go. I've got a business meeting next month in Louisville. I don't think Amy's schedule is going to align, so I don't really have an interest in going. Because I know that if my company really wants me to know something, they're going to tell me. I don't have to be there to actually know something, okay? So when I go to somewhere like that, we're going to make a little trip out of it. We're going to go see some other things. Besides that, it's going to be a little trip, a little getaway for the both of us. But I don't look forward to going to those things without her. I don't look forward to that. Ooh, I can't wait to get away from her for a couple of days. I don't think that way. I hope you don't. I don't know how long you're going to be married. I hope you're all married forever. But you shouldn't want that. That's your partner. You committed to that. You gave a vow to that. Right? I mean, I don't see that. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that it's a sin or anything like that. And Amy may tell me, you need to go play some golf with some buddies that you have, some other State Farm people that you work with, and go and play golf and go look at the Louisville Slugger. I'm a big baseball guy. Go have fun for a couple of days. I've got to be here. Now, if we agree and we communicate, that's fine. I'm not saying that. Y'all understand what I'm saying, right? But that's an agreed upon communication that, hey, we're talking about it. Hey, what do you think? What do you want to do? But I don't think of, my first response is, we're going together. Now, back to these two in this situation. Some people don't have that option, right? Maybe both can. Maybe you do have to travel for your job. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be times when you have to go off and you're with someone of the opposite sex and y'all at the same hotel. What could they have done to prevent going this far? What are some hedges? What are some steps they could have put in place that would have prevented this? Steph?
Calling your spouse.
Yeah.
If you're feeling emotionally kind of you need to talk to someone and you have a coworker there, you can call your spouse and tell them
right.
You're feeling that kind of way.
Good. William?
I never would have hired her. I would have hired a much older, experienced. I mean, if you know that you got a problem in that area, why would you hire a young woman?
You're a police officer, retired. William, you're gonna train this new woman rookie. She's gonna ride with you for 6 months. You'll do that. You've got every opportunity.
In that situation, I'm gonna be given an order by my lieutenant.
Exactly right.
Okay, in that situation, my lieutenant's gonna order me, and I'm gonna have to do it in a professional manner. So, in response to that question, but then he should have been professional, and he should have been above board, held himself to a higher standard, and not lower his standard. And he never got in that situation.
Has anybody in here, and you can share if you want to, ever felt like someone of the opposite sex was starting to cross the line? And if they did, how did you handle it? I've had that once or twice, I think. I'm not sure. The only reason I say it that way is because I don't think Amy would like that. I don't think my wife would like that too much if I did that. And I don't know if it was innocent or not, but I didn't care to find out. So, to Seth's point, referencing our spouses during the conversation, calling my wife at the time, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody and you can't sleep, call the one you committed to. Call the one you made the vow to. I'm not sharing my emotional energy with anybody but her. I committed to that a long time ago. I don't have the emotional space to want to give it to somebody else. I'm not going there. And I think the biblical aspect of whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, let's come back and reset where our boundaries are. Right? Will?
Yeah, I have a situation where my partner, he was a womanizer. And every time we would be in certain situations, I would say, hey, look here, I'm going to get in service. And I would actually leave. You know, I want him to know that, you know, I'm not going to cross that line. Several incidents where I just left. We might have assembled at a store because we would work at night, and you know, and if he was doing something that I thought was crossing the line, I would simply leave. And I said, look, man, I'm not going to participate in that, or I don't feel comfortable around this situation. And one morning, we had to turn in our patrol car because we were short on patrol cars. And so we get off at 7:30, but you turn your patrol car in at 6:30 if the dispatcher leaves your car. You know? So that was my situation at this particular morning. So I had to turn in my patrol car, and I left early. I left at 6:30, and my partner was by himself. So if I'm leaving, he's going to be by himself. We will always tell each other, look here, don't get in no trouble. You know, don't do something you shouldn't do. We would talk like that. Well, later when I came to work that night, I didn't see my partner on the roster. I said, where's my partner? You didn't hear what? You know, he involved himself with a female, and I caught on camera, and he was relieved. It cost him his job, it cost him his wife, it cost him his house, it even cost him his mind, because I think at one time he was in the psych ward here. But my point is, we talked about this. You know, we always talked about don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to be compromised. And then he blamed it on me. We were friends. He was more experienced than me. But he said it was my fault. And I couldn't understand why he was saying it was my fault. I said, look, man, we talked about this. And so, wow, it hurt me that he felt like I was no longer his friend, but I was disappointed that these are the things we discussed. And he knew I never engaged in stuff like this. I never crossed that line. Because I want to be a good example as a patrolman. I don't want to do anything that was going to cross that line. Then to him, I would be a partner who you can't trust no
Yeah.
more. Because I know I'm a Christian. I know I'm a member of the body wearing that uniform, but I'm held to God's standards
Yeah.
more so than the standards of the department. So I just want to share that, and it can happen even to those who wear that uniform of blue with that shield.
You know, nobody's immune,
Nobody.
no matter what you put on.
That's right.
You talk about you kind of led right into the word infidelity. You know, we don't have to soften sin to make it sound a little more politically correct. You know, and sometimes we have to call it out for what it is in certain terms. That's exactly what it is. It's, you know, and, you know, say, oh, he, you know, infidelity, or, you know, he cheated on his wife, or, you know, make it softer, make the landing softer to sin. It's like, no, we're going to call it out, because you made a vow, and you broke that vow, and you broke a lot of trust. Hebrews 13:4 says, let marriage be held in honor among all, and let the marriage bed be undefiled, for God will judge the sexually immoral and adulterous. Look, that's pretty clear. It's pretty clear. And in today's world, we're going to get called names. You're getting called names now. And from, you know, and I don't want to talk about the events of this week, but when you take a stand for Christianity and you want to call out direct sin, and you get called names because you're taking a biblical stance on something, that's tough. And I think a lot of you know kind of what I'm saying, and I don't want to go there too much more, but you can't. These are biblical situations. This is not, when you talk about abortion, same-sex marriages, when you're a Christian, when you take a stand for certain things, and you want to tell somebody, look, man, you're in an adulterous relationship. You have no right to that person. I don't have a right to anybody else but that woman sitting right over there. Neither do you. The one that, if you're single, whoever you're looking at dating, if they're looking at websites that are inappropriate, or if they don't see the same type of the God that you do, and they don't believe in one marriage and being faithful and worshiping and being true to each other, we need to take a look and go, this may not be the one for me. If you're dating, this may not be the one I want to spend the next 50, 60, 70 years with. We're not aligned here. There's been times where I grew up knowing the right thing to do, and I'm human. Amy would say, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're going to do this. And I think there's probably times in reverse. I was like, it's probably not the right thing to do. We're partners. We're helping each other. If you're not going to look for someone like that, you don't need that person. Okay. Appreciate the comments. What is that? Your fault for this thing? Yeah. It was your fault. But maybe you should have it. Yeah, good to see you again. Yeah. Awesome.
I almost said silent, but I knew that wasn't right.
It can't be mine.
Okay. Fired up today. Take a breath. How are you?